Hi, all. Mr. Midwife here. So, your 85-year-old grandmother had a massive stroke last week. It's 6 days later. She is on total life support. You're in the hospital. Medical team comes to you and says, it doesn't look good. Your 27-year-old brother was driving home from work last night, 2 o'clock in the morning. Someone else crossed that center line. It's 5 o'clock in the morning now. You're in the emergency room. The medical team comes to you and says, this isn't going to end well. About 5 years ago, I had a friend named Tom. He was 50 years old, out on a bicycle ride with his teenage son. Hit a rock or a pothole or something in the road, flipped his bike, hit his head, no function above the brainstem. What do we do with Grandma? What would David want us to do in this situation? What did we do with Tom? These are discussions that nobody really wants to have, but you need to have them. You really need to have them. How do you start the discussion? Well, as you're sitting there on the couch with your wife, your adult children, your sister, you're watching a movie and a certain scene comes on. You can pause the movie right there and say, hey, if it was me and I was in a similar situation, here's what I want you to do. What would you want me to do if it was you? You're reading a news article or you're watching the news on television and a certain situation happens. Again, you pause, you turn to your loved one and you say, if that was me, if I was in a similar situation, here's what I'd want you to do. What would you want me to do if it was you? Sometimes the best time to have that discussion, because nobody really wants to discuss this, right? Who wants to discuss what to do with Grandma? Nobody wants to face death. So best time to have this discussion, in my opinion, is you're driving down the freeway at 60 miles an hour. You're driving, they're in the passenger seat. You turn to me and you say, you remember that movie we saw last week? You remember that scene? And you start the discussion. They don't want to have that discussion, but now they're obligated because who's going to bail out the car at 60 miles an hour, right? So they have to listen to you until you stop the car at a red light or something. At any rate, have the discussion. These aren't easy discussions to have. They're absolutely not, but they're vital. What would you want me to do? A couple of years ago, I was diagnosed with COVID, swabbed dirty for COVID. And I thought about it, and I sent out a text to my ex-wife and all of my adult children. I said, if I get terribly sick, here's what I want to happen. Now, we've had that discussion several times in the past. I've been in healthcare for over 20 years now. And the topic comes up every now and again. And just like I said, seen in a movie, a news article, we bring it up. We've discussed this topic with me and with my ex-wife and my other children over and over again, probably dozens of times. We've had small discussions about what I want to happen. Now, I'll share something with you. I'm what's called DNR, do not resuscitate. Why? Well, I've seen enough in my life. I've been in nursing for over 20 years. I've seen enough things happen. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that to my family. I don't want to do that to myself. Part of the thing that is, as I've lived my 20 years in nursing, I spent a little bit of time in nursing homes. Quite often we have grandma, grandpa, whoever it is, 98 years old, 102 years old, and they're full codes, meaning that if something happens, if their heart stops, they quit breathing, I want you to fully resuscitate my loved one. I can't say that's right or wrong, but the man's 102 years old. How long did you expect him to live? When are you going to let him go? Other situations, I've had patients that were in a car accident 20 years ago, brain damage, like my friend Tom, no function above the brainstem. Yet they've been in a nursing home, total life support for the last 20 years. All they are is laying there in bed. There's not much left. How long do you want them to live like this? It's not just about you letting go. It's about It's about letting them die with dignity. I'm not saying that's the right decision for everyone, but for me, I know what I want. And now you're about to know what I want too. I'm a do not resuscitate. I've told my coworkers, people that I work with, if you find me down at work, leave me alone. Do not resuscitate me. Why? Well, if you find me down, how long have I been down? Brain damage sets in between 3 and 5 minutes. You go down, you're not breathing. Between 3 and 5 minutes, there's permanent brain damage you're never coming back from. When you find me down, how long have I been down? Truth of the matter is, you don't know. If you see me go down, by all means, try something. If you find me down, leave me alone, because I don't want to live. I don't want to live like that. I don't want to live in a nursing home, being taken care of, having someone else change my diapers, having tube feedings. I don't want to live that life, and I don't want my kids and my wife and my other loved ones to have to be committed to A, big bills, B, have to be committed to the fact that dad's still alive. Well, not really, but he's in that bed in that facility, and he's just kind of there. To me, it's quality of life, not quantity of life. If I can't live happy and healthy, there's no point. That's just me. I'm not saying what it has to be for you. But have those discussions. Have them early. Put them in writing. Have the discussion. Send it in a text message to all of your loved ones. Put it in an email so that when something does happen, we all have the same email. Have that discussion frequently so that you can say, not only 2 years ago, but as late as last week, we had a discussion, and here's what Dad said. Here's what David said. Here's what Tom and I had discussed. And it's in an email or a text message or something else. It doesn't have to be necessarily in legal form, but outline it so that you, your loved ones, and those who will be making the decision have a framework to work from. Do you want your life saved? Do you want to be intubated but no CPR? Do you want absolutely nothing done? Some people, it's as easy as, if there's an infection that sets in, just don't give me antibiotics, let the kidney infection take over. Some people, it's do CPR but don't breathe for me, or do breathe for me but don't do this. The nuances are endless, really. For me, if something happens, let me go. Just let me go. Take a day or two, come in, everybody come in, say goodbye to me, and then turn off the switch on your way out. Let me go. I don't want to be a burden to anyone, and I don't want to live like that. So that's just me. My point here, have a discussion. Have it early. Have it frequently enough so that it's newish on everyone's mind, so that if something does happen, you know what, we discussed this 6 months ago or last week or as late as a year ago, but it's fresh enough that, yeah, we had a discussion 20 years ago and I don't really remember what we discussed, but it was there. Have it frequently. It's easy. When you see a scene in a movie, read a news article, have it at 60 miles an hour on the freeway so they can't, so they're obligated to listen. Have a discussion, have it frequently, have it early. Send it in an email so that everybody has the same information. Anyway, those are my thoughts. End of life care. End of life can come when you're 85 years old or when you're 22 years old. It doesn't, who knows when it's going to happen. Have a nice day. Bye.